just tell me what you're about to do? How did the fight come about? Who are you fighting? All that good stuff.
I'm going to make my Bareknuckle debut, but it's MMA, so it's not as I get to use all my weapons, my elbows, my knees, and stuff. So that's cool. It's not just boxing.
Is it the same rules as MMA?
Yep.
So there literally is just no glove. That's the only difference.
Yeah, you can tape your wrist and an inch below your knuckle.
So have you been training without a glove?
Yeah, I've been in like hitting mitts and doing some push-up or pull-ups with like towels, trying to like straighten up my hands and my wrists and stuff like that.
Who are you
Fighting Anthony Angiaquani, and he's a vet. He's in the UFC about 8 or 9 years ago. He won a couple performance of the nights. Muay Thai specialist. So yeah, I expect his striking to be very clean, and yeah, I'm gonna have to be on my P's and Q's the first round for sure.
fighting? And he trains here in Vegas, right?
Yep, he's a Vegas guy. I think he's at One Kicks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you guys haven't run into each other? You don't know each
Oh,
other?
never sparred him or anything. And unlike my last opponent, we had like 10 sparring rounds together before we fought. Because we trained like 2 months before we fought. It was kind of weird, but it was cool. It's all business.
And then talking about your last fight, can you just talk to me a little bit about the aftermath of that fight?
Yeah, I took it on like 3.5 weeks notice. I was sitting around waiting for the Ultimate Fighter thing to. Well, so Dana said he was gonna take care of us, and then I waited like 6 weeks, and I stayed on weight where I can make 155 in like 4 days notice, and the opportunity never came. So my manager was like, "Hey, do you want to fight in 3.5 weeks? Up a weight class for PFL?" And I was like, "Yeah, let's do it." And so I only cut like 3 pounds, and my opponent, he cut a lot more weight than me. He's a lot bigger, but yeah, it was a war. I got my orbital fractured and stuff like that. It was kind of scary. At least for one round, I was kind of blind. It was kind of scary, but yeah.
And I have to ask because like I scored it for you. I thought you won. I think a lot of the crowd thought you won.
Mhm.
A lot of the media online thought you won. Is it more difficult coming out of a loss when you feel like you won, or when you're like, no, I got knocked out. Like I definitely lost.
Yeah, it's funny because people like on the street always congratulate me on my last fight, and I was like, you guys know I lost, right? Like it's still cool, It's cool to finally have one of those, epic fight of the years, and but yeah, it's a little tough, just because of what happened with Conor McGregor bringing his guys in. Me and my teammate actually got booted off the show, Mitch Ramirez, and then PFL. Then I lost that, so. I'm not really feeling the love from like the big organizations right now. So it was kind of cool that Gamebred like reached out, and showed me some love and invited me out to fight. So I kind of feel better in that aspect. But yeah.
Have you noticed any difference with it being a promotion run by a former fighter yet, or maybe that's something you'll just experience in 5 weeks?
Yeah, I haven't really had any contact with him. Everything's been through my manager, and so yeah, I don't know what fight week's gonna look like, but hopefully, yeah.
And I know you mentioned, having like getting booted from the house because of Connor, and then we're reading all these crazy stories about Connor like showing up at 2 in the morning to the house and like messing with people's weight cuts and then just not showing. Are you kind of almost like, glad that you didn't go through that experience?
Well, I think I would have been on Chandler's team because he had the vets. So I heard great things about being on Chandler's team. So not so much like I'm missing out, but it would have been cool just the opportunity because that would have been like my way back in to the UFC, especially after coming off of like a highlight reel knockout over a big prospect, And now I'm coming off a loss, so I'm just trying to get some more momentum going again,
How do you think like, for example, you mentioned like PFL and UFC are kind of like because you just had that loss.
Yeah.
You have this win in bare knuckle. Do you think they're going to recognize it? Because it's still MMA.
It's weird, right? So in Tapology, you know what topology is, right? Yeah.
No, I
So
don't.
yeah. So the database for topology, it doesn't count them. It's like a custom rules match, right? But if you go on SureDog, it counts it. Or if you go on the MMA Underground, it counts it. So it's like 2 of the 3 databases count them as MMA fights or wins or losses. So yeah, maybe it's just another W in my hat, and I need to get a couple more, and then I can probably maybe grab the attention of those guys again.
What would be your preference? Would you like to go into the PFL season shot at the UFC? Or what if it's like, hey, wait till next year's TUF? Would you be willing to do that?
I really don't have a destination anymore. Like, I just kind of been shunned by every organization, I guess you could say. Like, supposed to have like a 4-fight deal, got cut after 2. I took my first one on like a day's notice, and then had a fight of the year, then they let me go. So it's like, I don't know what I'm doing wrong, but yeah, I'm just kind of going where the money is, and whoever treats me better. So that's just what's important to me.
Final question. Do you have a prediction for your Bareknuckle fight?
I think it's gonna be a really brutal first round for both of us, but it's gonna come down to like who, kind of like a war of attrition. So, and I think I got more than he does in my tank,